Alright everyone, welcome to what is, I hope, episode 1 of many of the Basilisk Ladder Diaries, and we're going to do this introduction, right? This is episode 1. We're going to be uploading 3 of these a week. It's going to be one of Serral, one of Clem, not of Clem, one of Serral, one of Rainer, and one of Trigger. Serral, Rainer, Trigger, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Likely going to be the cadence going forward. And we start with Sepe Susi, or Serral, playing a ladder game against Clem, which, you know, I can think of worse ways to to start a series. It's on Neo Humanity, of course, as you all can see. And Neo Humanity is a map that, I talked about this a lot during Katowice, but Neo Humanity is a map that has me very, very excited. For several reasons, right? So you have this exposed middle map position with the rich gas right there that maybe incentivizes some Zergs to take. If you would listen to some players, they're going to say that, there we go. Serral's actually, it seems like he's going to, is this a, oh, okay, no, it's a drone scout. Interesting. So this is why this is fun, or this is why in part this is going to be fun here. And that we are watching games, or we will be casting games, really, where these players are playing on ladders. So it's not at a tournament where they're looking at, oh, you know, I'm going to win regardless, whatever it is. Maybe not win regardless, but there's so much more pressure. Instead, we get to see players start to mess around with what they're going to do. Maybe explore some new things. And in this case, well, Serral, I was talking about how he was going to take the rich gas. No. This is a proxy hatch. And up until right now, Clem had no idea, because this is Serral. Serral doesn't proxy hatch. Well, he is in this game. And all my conversations about, okay, well, you know, you can take the gas base and look at that. You knock the rocks down and start for the Terran to get aggressive. Well, you know, there's a hatch in Clem's natural. So a couple SCVs are going to be deputized to try to knock this down ASAP, and Marines are going to pop out eventually, or Reapers, I guess, in this case. But the important thing here is Clem needs to get an SCV across the map, perhaps earlier than he might have otherwise liked. Clem is one of these players that doesn't always SCV scout. So he wants to make sure that there is not a roach follow-up to this, something like that. So by seeing the natural, seeing the time is complete, well, that's kind of the information he needs right now. But, I mean, certainly this natural is not going to be allowed to do anything for a while, as the hatchery's there. Now, I got to imagine that this is something where Serral is going to go and he's going to cancel this. It's getting very close to completion, but this should be a cancel here. Maybe an Evo chamber for a follow-up block. There, no, he's just, okay. He's going to block the gas, maybe take a little bit more time, but realistically, this is not a Protoss player. This is not this is not something where you actually cannot take the natural until the base is dead. No, in this case, you can build a command center on the high ground. So Clem is going to knock this one down as quick as possible, and it's one Marine and a Reaper, so it actually takes a decent amount of time. Okay, well, Serral, there we go. Cancel. Good Reaper positioning, though. Make sure that he's not going to be able to re-steal the gas. But again, at the end of the day, yes, Clem is delayed. Yeah, his timing's not as nice as it would like. He's not been mining out of the natural as quick as possible. But he could build the command center on the high ground. So he can actually, you know, start to develop himself into the game a little bit more than, say, if this was a ZVP or something. So I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out. But for right now, what we can see is the fact that, well, Clem's going 3cc behind this. Nothing super crazy. It is going to be a TY-esque 3cc play where you get that second barracks before the starport. So you hit 6 minutes, 5:45 with 2 medevacs, 14, closer to 14 Marines than 16 for the most part. But you put some Hellions on the map, and it's a little bit harder for the Zerg to scout, especially in a map with Neo Humanity, where, I mean, where are you going to hide? You can hide something right there, but I'm actually not even sure whether that is that's a perf pylon or not. Regardless, Reaper on the other side is going to try to deny the creep. Will be unable to do so. There we go. Barracks on the way. Stim just now getting started. And yes, is this the fastest setup ever? No. But it doesn't really feel like Clem has been so heavily damaged, degraded, his position in this game. It's something. Certainly, but it's not the end of the world. Is now Serral doing a great job pushing his creep spread forward. Notice what he's doing here, by the way, with the Overlord positioning. Now, this is something that has been defined for a while now, but it's worth pointing out anyways, where you want to put Overlords, and actually Serral's going to try to run an Overlord in, and did he get the scout? Oh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Yeah, he saw the double barracks. Okay. But notice how he's keeping his Overlords ahead of the creep. And what this means is actually it makes it a lot easier for the Zerg to spread their creep, especially with the nerf right before Katowice, where suddenly the creep vision is only as far as the maximum creep spread. So you put the Overlords in advance of creep. It means you know where the Hellions are which means you're spreading creep where the Hellions are not, which means the creep actually gets down unless the Terran wants to spend a scan. It's a small thing, but when we're talking about incoming aggression, like, hey, you know, 2 medevacs are on the way, Marines are on the way, Stim is almost done. You want to have that creep spread just as far forward as possible. But the other thing we should point out here is that due to the proxy hatchery situation that Serral set himself up for in this game, he's not up on 9 queens. He's on 6, he's on 7. Yeah, actually, he's only on 6 here, so only 3 forward. Not a lot of energy stored on these queens. So this 2-1-1, when Clem decides to move on out with it, is going to be a little bit more powerful than it might otherwise be, which is one of the reasons now why Serral has gone for that early defensive roach war. Now, whether this turns into some pure roach play, we've yet to find out, but getting yourself up to 8, 9, 10 roaches, a couple lings, if you can get them together, it's actually rather nice against these 2-1-1 plays. Now, if they're separated, then Marines just jump on top of them, and the money you spend is not worth it, but Sepastusi. Serral is in a good spot here, and he's taking that forward base. So I'm curious now to see whether he's going to actually take the cooling towers down. Because I've talked to some Zergs that talk about how, well, you know, you get these these cooling towers down early, the map is almost free. The Terran just really can't move across super easily. But that is normally looking about the early mid game. That's denying Hellion aggression, things like that. It's not quite as much in the mid game because then you don't really want to run through this slow zone anyways, but it means there's a little bit more of a position that the tanks can siege up in. It means that the medevacs can be a little bit more annoying up and over the rocks. So maybe not quite as powerful as it would be in the early game, but regardless, this is actually going to be 1-1 Roach play coming out of, well, 1-1 Roach Ravager into an immediate hive, into Baneley speed. So this is Roach Ravagerling Bane. This is an old style, early Legacy of the Void that we occasionally see come back. And I'm curious just to see what Serral's approach is going to be. Okay, Infestors are going to be on the way. So yeah, you pair them up with some Banelings, pair them up with some Ravager Biles, and it allows you to be greedy, is really the big thing. Infestors are force multipliers more than they are actual forces in and of themselves. I mean, they really can't do much by themselves. But what they can do is allow the Zerg to get away with a lower army supply, or yeah, really just lower army value, lower army supply than they might otherwise be looking for. And if you are trying to go to hive as quick as possible, if you're trying to be as greedy as Serral is, well, that's actually going to work out fairly nice for you. But for now, drop on the left side here from Clem as he's trying to make sure that he can just flex that multitasking as much as possible. One queen's going to go down here. Yeah, Serral cannot save it, but there is only one flank here from Clem, so he's going to try to target down as much as he can. Banelings arrive, and that will force Clem back. But it took him a moment. I mean, we're used to seeing Clem literally doing 2 things at once. That drop in the middle of the map that looked like it might be able to do something. Well, it knocks some creep down. But we didn't have Serral, or we didn't have Clem running it forward as the arm in the left side really started to pitch in. That being said, some creep has been denied, and the rest of this on the left side will get dealt with. And we're also starting to see why Zergs really don't like this map, and that these watchtowers give Terrans so much vision on maybe not the core 4 or 5 base that the Zerg wants to take, but once they start to try to take 6 or 7, good luck. The Terran's always going to know where your army is. It becomes rather painful as now Serral comes running forward. There are tanks around the high ground. Great KD8 charge. Can't believe the Reaper's still alive. That will force Serral back for the moment here. The Biles are going to force Clem back by the same margin, but now the entire army from Clem is on the right side here. What he's got 4 tanks. He's building Widow Mines, and actually this is somewhat interesting. I talked to a lot of Terrans, or a lot of players before Katowice, and they were all talking about how they liked Widow Mines as kind of the early to mid game, but they wanted a very quick transition into tanks. They thought tanks, just because of how the maps are, because of how much high ground, low ground positions there are, and really because of how the meta was anticipated to go, they thought that, okay, well, as we do see the cooling towers go down this time, because the Terran wants to do it. And actually, that's really nice. So notice what he's doing, right? He kills these rocks, or he blocks this position off, and now he attacks to the front. So there's a very, very thin angle that Serral can try to attack into as this pressure from Clem starts in earnest. More and more Widow Mines. Well, that's actually a great Widow Mine shot here. Serral runs forward, but it's not going to work out for him. Not really. 1-2 just about done for the Lings and the Banes. Ultra Cavern on the way as well. Roach counterattack, and again, these Roaches are not as powerful as they once were, but Serral still doesn't want to lose them for no gain. And it looks like that is going to be the majority of the price, but that just means he's going to try to attack in the front. Vipers are out, so these tanks are in fact useless as hell, and there's really just a bunch of Marines here on top. That one tank on the high ground gets like 1 or 2 shots off, but all the tanks go down. And remember, folks, Clem has been building Widow Mines. He has not been building tanks. He's not been building that strong defensive baseline. Fungal Clem tries to split against him, but a couple Marines do get caught anyways, and nice Widow Mines or Bailey shots on the backside. So Stepasusi, Serral, he continues to move forward, and that's a great Fungal, but are there any Baileys to add on? It looks like the answer is no. Clem targets them all down. Queens comes in from the left side, and the Vipers, now they have energy once again. Widow Mines killed 2 Queens, and this pressure from Clem in earnest continues. And remember, flanks from Serral are not all that viable. What are you going to attack in? From that angle, it's too far away. You got to attack in through the front, and that is, again, one of the reasons why it would be nice to see tanks here, but Clem really seems very content to stick on this Widow Mine, Ghost Marine, Liberator type of composition. And, well, that means that there is a very thin timing for what Clem is, or for what Serral is trying to do as the Ultras do pop, but for now, Bileser will continue to knock down some of these Widow Mines. Lings run forward, getting on top of the Marauders. Widow Mine shot is going to be pretty decent as the Vipers, they run forward, but they don't have a ton of utility, to be totally honest. Yes, they can kill Medivacs. That's nice. Yes, they can pair with Fungal Marines, but they don't have that obvious second utility of a bunch of Blinding Clouds. I mean, you can Blinding Cloud bio and it's nice, but it's not perfect. It's not nearly as powerful here as now. The army runs forward. Bile's now down on the Liberator. It's going to kill it. But these Ultras, they're not lasting all that long. They only have 4 armor, not 5, and with Ghosts as well. And the Widow Mines continue to find their value. It's really nice, but, well, we have a Ling run by on the other side. Spending so much focus here in the middle of the map. Clem didn't see the Lings run through. And that is 18 SCVs, an entire mineral line going down. And here's the thing. Everyone's focusing on the north side. Clem does not really have, until right now, another opportunity to go forward. But he does understand that maybe Serral's being a little bit more cautious. That's going to be a dead Ghost here. Fungal doesn't get much more than that as the Lings run forward. Widow Mines in the clumps of things. The Bailings, are they going to get the connections they need? There we go, right through the front. Marines will fall, but even still, well, that's going to continue to be the trade. And folks, we are seeing the benefits of the Ghost nerf. Ultras can run away. This can be a more ebb and flow fight than just a commit or you're dead type of deal here as the Bile's going to land, not on Serral's army, but the Liberators are also not going down, and this stack of defense from Clem, well, aggressive defense really, is making it very hard now for Serral to do what he wants. Seems like he's going to have to give this position up, and that means the risk gas base most likely behind him. Serral does have this base on the right side. He does have the base on the bottom side. He does have something going for him. And we do, of course, need to point out that while Clem has this powerful army, he's keeping a supply up very nicely as all these Ghosts, and nice, yeah, there we go, abducts on the Ghosts are going to be very nice indeed. He does not have 3-3. Eventually, this army of Serral, if he's able to survive this pressure, will be able to outscale. But the Liberator pressure just keeps running forward. Every time Serral runs forward, he tries to kill a Liberator, he's just not successful. And folks, he's not really rebuilding Roaches and Ravagers. He has these 4 that he's kept alive for quite a while. But what that means is, well, you can kill 1 Liberator at a time, and Serral misses. He gets a medevac. But the Liberators are still alive. The Ultras, well, they're dead. And now, well, Clem's just going to ignore this rich gas base for a moment. He senses more opportunity. That's going to be another dead Queen. Widow Mine, well, Serral splits against that one fairly well. And more Ultras are on the way. Serral 2-1-2. +3 armor just about done. Needs to get that attack upgrade started soon. At least he has Adrenal, right? That's powerful. And that's a great parasitic bomb and puts everything into the orange. Can you go forward? Widow Mines are not going to go off here. Not on those Lings. And now, okay, Serral gets that, but the Widow Mine gets the shot off anyways. And again, Clem just retreats to the power of his Liberators. Eventually, this one's going to go down, but there's one even further back. The splits from Clem are fantastic. The Ultras continue to fall. Bailings, they will cancel all those snipes, but the Ghosts still stay alive until the Ultra gets on top of them on the left side. But even still, that is a dead army of Serral. That being said, Clem's supply is not what it once was. He's only at 150. He's remaxing now, and he does have a minor army supply lead. But this is not a situation where suddenly the Terran wins the fight. He's up, significant army supply. Resources lost, though, telling us a bit of a different story. 7,000 resources in the good for Clem, and he got that forward base, which, a good majority of the gas is done. Well, 58 remaining gas, but there are still minerals there. And Serral's broke. He's down 83 workers, sure, but he does not have that much money in the bank. Because here we go, Serral tries to go for a flank because, well, it's a little bit more possible, but the Liberators are there. They're going to start to target down as much as they can. And the Ghosts, actually, a lot of them are going to go down here. Clem only has 3. They're all in the front lines, and the Medivacs have all fallen as well. So there's really not a lot that Clem can do to keep the powerful tech units of his army alive. Ultra's getting on top of the planetaries, and again, there's only one Ghost from the north side. This planetary should fall down, and that's another dead Ghost, but no, the repair is going to be good enough here. Snipes on the backside. Serral has to run. He's got to hide, and he will get these Ultras out. And unlike some situations where you're okay, right? You trade your army, but you kill a Terran base and it's worthwhile. Again, Serral's mining almost 4,000 minerals at a time, but he does not have any in his bank. He's spending every little bit of it to try to make sure that he can stay alive as long as possible. And we're gonna see Spores go forward, trying to knock something down here. Oh, that's actually gonna be a great fungal there. But even still, is it enough? I mean, yes, we hear a bunch of Marines go down, but the Ghosts are still there. And this base from Serral is just not going to be allowed to get started once again. And behind this, of course, Clem, you know, he lost this planetary, but he's got another orbital. He has he has extra command centers. He can expand more if he would like. And the Infestors, I mean, they're getting good fungals. The spellcasters of Serral are successful, but it feels like every time this happens, we just have Clem pushing a little bit further forward. But as we say that, of course, Ling run by into the natural once again. But does this matter as much? It's all about the reinforcements, really, because it's not like there's much mining in this natural anymore, and defensive Widow Mines are going to clear up the rest of it. I think they got a couple Ghosts, though, but Clem is very confident that he's going to be able to clean up the rest of this. There we go. Widow Mine gets pretty much the rest of them, but is he paying attention to the army at the front? Widow Mines, they're dragged on top of the army here, and all the Marines are going to go down. Yes, the Liberators are powerful, but there's nothing on the ground for Clem. He's got Liberators in the sky. He's got something in the Medivacs, but this should be perhaps a broken base. Even still, the drop goes down once again, and the Queens, as they fall, the anti-air is really turning into a massive problem here. These Liberators are just uncontested. Marauders and Marines are just going to sit on top of it. What are you going to do here, Serral? You're going to lose stuff to the Liberators? You're going to lose stuff to the annoying micro of your Terran opponents? Well, I don't really know. And again, Clem keeps that base alive. He's got the bottom left base as well. So his economy, he's got plenty of mules here. He's in a fairly fine spot despite only being on 54 workers. And it's crazy to see the fact his EMP's there. I mean, one parasitic bomb goes off, but Clem splits off. It's crazy to see this game where Serral is mining so much more. He's mining 1,000 minerals more. But it feels like the economy of the Terran is actually in a better spot despite being down 20 workers and, you know, 1,000 minerals. But Clem has just been trading so incredibly cost effectively. That's going to be great fungal there on a lot of these Ghosts as the Banelings, Thornlings, they run forward. And hey, if Clem is not targeting the Ultras down, you don't really care. Yes, we do have Lings are not cheap, but they are cheaper than an Ultra. And if you're able to kill those Spellcasters, I mean, it's absolutely worthwhile. As the bio runs forward, that's going to be a dead Infestor. And Clem continues to shove forward, getting heavy damage done on this fourth base. Parasitic Bomb, though, is going to get a Medivac. Actually, is going to get 2. And that's going to be rather nice. Less healing here on this army. And what we're seeing is the long red line of bio, despite everything we're talking about. Well, Serral knocked down the left base, or at least forced it off, as now here comes the army moving forward. Widow Mines get a lot of the Marines as well. Friendly fire, and yes, the Ultras will fall, but this is a big position that Clem has lost here, and the supplies are starting to go pretty heavily in the Zerg favor. And we're talking about how, hey, it feels like Clem is in a pretty good spot. You know, he has this orbital here. He's got a base in the bottom left. He can take his command centers everywhere. Because that little Ling run by was able to knock down that left base of Clem, it's starting to feel less the case. Starting to feel like there's maybe a little bit more of a timer as these Widow Mines, well, Serral's gonna have to split against them, but 2 will go off, and that's really obnoxious, but the Widow Mines will fall. And that's, well, actually, oh, there's a great Widow Mine connections. And Serral's gonna be well aware of the fact that Clem's trying to take this north side base. Serral's lost a lot of his economy as well. The Liberators denying that bottom right base, or middle right base, I guess, is actually pretty impactful. This is one of the last really true mining bases that Serral has. He's got 8 mineral patches there, 7 mineral patches there, but all the interior bases are mined out. So, I mean, we see this base return back to mine, and we can see just how important it is as a couple Widow Mines are going to try to burrow off. One's going to go down, second one falls before it really is able to burrow, before it gets what it wants. And Serral maintains his economy. But the big deal here, of course, is, well, the fact that we can see that Clem is not with the relentless pressure anymore. He's going back to try to defend his holdings, maybe multitask here, as the Lings are going to look for surrounding. Clem has to pick back up, run away, but for the first time in a long time, it feels like Serral can do something on the map. Widow Mines, well, they're not going to get these Lings, not at first. This is a vulnerable position. These mineral patches have not been mined out, so it's hard for Clem to rotate in to defend this forward base and defend the base that he just took. And remember, This is the only true mining base that Clem has, and it's starting to mine out pretty quickly. 500 mineral patches on the richest ones, or on the poorest ones, I guess. So he's going to rapidly go put himself down on 11 mineral patches, or on not 11 mineral patches, excuse me, on like 5 mineral patches here. Oh, the infester. Sneaky. Serral moves it further back, wants to see whether there's anything behind this army, but he should be able to clean it up right now. Pop up, and he's gonna get the army. Widowmine actually will go off, but it doesn't matter because Serral cleans up the right side, and that means Clem, he had an army on the left side, but he has to rotate over. He has to defend, and that means some of these ultras actually they will be able to run out of things. And Serral is finally maxed out. He's not mining well just yet, but he certainly has maxed himself out, and he's starting to build at least a tiny bit of a bank here. As now, well, scan goes down. Clem wants to make sure that there are no infestors behind, but it's just lings and banelings running forward, and that's going to have to be enough for now. The Liberator's going to siege up, and the army runs away. But if you look at resources lost, it's been plus 9,000 for quite a while. Serral has started to trade better and better as the game goes on, or at least trade evenly. And again, look at the money here. It's 1,000 minerals in the good for Serral. He's starting to take one of Clem's bases. The Liberators, they deputize themselves all over the place. And again, that has been the big problem that Serral has been running into this game, where he doesn't have a lot of anti-air. He's dropping spores occasionally, but it's a singular queen. And yes, having +1 and the queens are nice, but that's, of course, balanced out by the armor upgrade that these Liberators have. And that, oh, okay, the queen will go down. But, I mean, Serral... I don't know that that's going to be enough to put Clem back in this game at this point. As the army moves forward, Widowmines are decent, but they're not the game-ending, game-shattering shots that you need. Those are going to be a little bit better, though, as the army just runs past the Liberators, and the Bio has to retreat. Ultra on the left side is going to do a lot of damage here, and that means the snipes are not going to go down, which means the Ultras can continue to run on forward here, and Clem continues to kite backwards, but he's starting to find himself a pretty nice supply lead. Widowmine after Widowmine after Widowmine continues to fall. And we were talking about how the Widowmines maybe weren't game shattering, but you get enough of them down there, and that makes a pretty significant difference. So Clem, oh wait. Bird Banes on the left side. I don't know how many that killed, but it seems like it got a decent amount of Marines, and the Bird Infester as well. It's got enough energy for a fungal there, but no, Clem targets it down immediately, and that is well done. Widowmines get a great trade as well. So Clem is a bit wise now to the tricks that Serral has been going for, as the snipe will go off, and it does not kill the Ultra. And we were talking about how Serral has finally maxed himself out, about how his economy is doing a little bit better, and actually he's able to start to build some level of a bank. Well, not really. He's down in supply once again. Clem's the one that's maxing out of this base that Serral's been mining with one worker out of for quite a while now. Well, it's going to go down, and because it was one worker, he didn't steal that much money from his Zerg opponent. So this base will fall. Question now is whether he's going to be able to get more, and it seems like the good majority of Serral's army is on the left side, so I don't know that Clem's going to be able to push much further than that, but the Lings, they try to run forward, and they're just going to get targeted down. The Widowmine gets triggered, though, and that means that's going to be a dead Marauder. Clem, though, on the right side, he's going to be able to get this, and this is a very low base. Clem should be able to get the base as well if he stims on top of it. Yes, Serral sees the army, just opts not to engage. The base will fall. Now he's going to go in, but the splits of Clem, he's going to run backwards. Marauders are going to go down, but here are some ghosts, and everything gets sniped on down. A massive fight coming in from Clem once again, and he's maintaining that 30 supply lead. Importantly, though, it's a 40 army supply lead, almost. Clem's army, well, first of all, Clem's economy is doing better than Serral's right now. He's up 5 workers, and he has mules. And second of all, he's setting up about 30 army supply. We were praising Serral for able to establish his economy, for able to survive into this game. But it's starting to turn into a pretty significant Clem comeback now, as the Banelings, they run forward. Widowmines, they're going to get something of the friendly fire. Now Clem, he's got to retreat here on the left side. His army's on the right side, so Serral, he's got a bit of an opportunity. The Vipers, though, they're not going to be able to knock these down. Friendly fire on the medevac gets damage done, and that means this one medevac will fall. Lings and Ultras surrounding the planetary, which, well, only 4 mineral patches remain, but still, that's economy that Clem does not have. As we're moving into a bit of a base trade on the right side, it's going to be another dead base from Serral again. Only 3 mining patches on it, not a ton. But Serral has been able to knock down an important mining base of Clem. But is it worth 3 hatcheries? Because it seems like that's what's going to happen, and it is not. Clem moves forward, and Serral, Sepasusi, well, it's not common to see him lose a game on ladder, but he loses this one. 23 minutes of fantastic play. And folks, this will be happening every Tuesday. We'll be, at least most Tuesdays, Basilisk Ladder Diaries. Serral on Tuesday, Rainer on Thursday, Trigger on Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern. And if you like what I do, hey, drop me a sub on, or drop me a follow on Twitch as well. Make sure to sub here, all that fun stuff. See you next time.